announced that beforehand before I was ready to say anything, but that's whatever.
How are you?
Like I said, I'm gonna do an announcement. It'll take a couple minutes, and then we will get started as soon as she comes in. Hello.
Long time no see.
Yeah, it's
live,
been,
by the way.
we're live now. Fantastic. Well, this is exciting. As soon as the other judge comes in, yep. There's a guy who's very excited about literally everything.
Hey, Puppy. She's wild. She's pretty wild.
Yeah. Boing.
Oh, she's trying.
You can just lean back on him.
Hey.
You can treat him like he's Boomy and just kind of lean on him. He'll be fine. He'll probably not like it, but he'll move. Yeah. He's not
get the
Boomy's
hint.
size. He's not Boomy sized, but he wants to.
But he thinks he is.
Yeah.
In spirit, he is.
He wants to be up there with Talia and eat her snacks.
Yeah, I grasp it.
All right. I know. Things are exciting. Well, if you want to have a seat, I guess I pull up the chair there. I figured that's your daughter, so. All right. If it gets too cold, let me know. All right, we're gonna get started now. So welcome. Thanks for coming.
Yes.
I'm very excited for this. Yeah, of course. So, for anyone who doesn't know, today the ingredient was Honey Nut Cheerios, which I'm very excited to see what they're going to do, what they've done with it, and excited to see how you guys react to it. Neither of these two people have a lot of professional kitchen experience. It's a lot of this. I just like to cook, and so they try new things. And
Those
so
are
I'm
some of the best, dude. Ever.
I
Like
know.
my mom. Like,
Yeah.
I just like to cook,
Mhm.
and I'm good at it.
Yes. Yes. And that's kind of how I got started cooking too. My mom just taught me how to cook when I was young, and I just went from there. Okay. Good. The child has a smoker's cough. It's fine. It's normal. All right. So I'm gonna go get the first plate, and I'll come out, I'll announce what it is, and then you guys will have a few minutes. All right? Be right back.
Dang.
All right. So you guys are not to make any noise about what color you guys are. So just wait a second. We'll go. Couch. There's nothing.
Like, you get a Final Fantasy entrance, like, we just won that now.
Okay. This is a Cheerio encrusted pork chop with roasted potatoes and carrots. I should bring you silverware to go with it, which I forgot to grab. So you guys can admire it, taste with your eyes first. I will get silverware for you guys.
Gotta clear out my nose a little bit.
Okay. Knife and fork. Knife and fork. Knife and fork. And I brought sharp knives in case you guys need to murder someone, sacrifice somebody. There it is.
Nice.
Mm.
You heard the sacrifice.
You heard the
story.
sacrifice. Yeah, the sacrifice.
Well,
So-
I'm sad I wasn't here for it.
Yeah. So go and dig in. There are no special notes, so eat it as you would a normal pork chop with roasted potatoes and carrots. While you're digging in, I'm going to get out the other 3 plates for the guests. While they dig into yes. 3 more. And if anybody needs spoons or anything else for their dish, go and get that ready. Okay. Yep. Okay.
That looks pretty. Thank you.
Mhm. All right, let's see what the judges have to say so far. We'll start with Umbra over there. What are your thoughts on the dish?
Well, everything was cooked perfectly. I think the crust is a little soft, and that may just be from travel.
Mm-hmm. Right, which is part of the challenge.
Yep. It definitely tastes good. I don't. The potatoes don't really have a lot of extra flavor into them, either do the carrots, so they just seem pretty simple as sides, which is fair. But yeah, it's overall pretty good.
Okay. Tom, what do you think?
I like it. It's good. I was scared the pork might be overcooked. I grew up in a house that did not know how to cook pork.
Yeah.
I'm with you there, sir.
Yep.
And the topping brings a nice sweetness to it. I like that. I agree with Tom, but it probably didn't travel very well.
Right. That is always a concern about these kinds of things.
It's good, but that being said,
Right.
for what it is, though.
Yeah, and that's another thing that to take into consideration. Yeah. How do you think the pork is cooked?
Oh, I actually enjoy it. It's actually juicy still.
It's still
Yep.
still nice and juicy.
Not dry at all.
The breading.
The pork is cooked perfectly.
The breading definitely held a lot of that juice there, which also could have caused some of that softness. But
Right. Yeah.
I will say one thing though. I'm normally not a fan of cooked carrot at all. Like pot roast, like that's my limit.
Right.
But with this pork chop, I actually do enjoy the cooked carrot.
Mm-hmm.
And
Excellent.
that's very rare for me to say. I will throw that out there.
Excellent. I'm sure that
I mean, a little bit of salt and pepper goes a long way though when you're doing certain things.
that's true.
The only thing I feel like this dish is definitely missing is a little bit of acidity.
Need some acidity.
Yes.
Right on. And feel free to mark those down as comments. There you go. So I'm gonna give you guys a minute or two to fill out your forms, and so with and see on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the perfect. So mark down as this is entree 1, so E. You got some things? Okay.
She needs some water.
Listen, do you need me to get anything for it?
She has some.
Okay, she has some. Okay, I'm gonna go have them start plating up the next dish, and I'll come back and I'll talk to you guys about it. Okay? Alright, so go ahead and start training up for this dish. And I'm gonna go talk to them about. Can you hear what
Drink some of your water, please.
You can stand there, don't listen to about that way. Just so you know, if you want to. I mean, I'm gonna
But honey,
have
I
at
think
the
you need
end,
to drink
I'm
some
gonna
of your
have
water.
both of you go out there and talk to them.
It's definitely
And
water.
talk about dishes so they can reiterate or go over any other thoughts that they had.
You need to
But
drink
so-
some of your water.
Alright. So we'll start, what do you think about the dish itself, like as a whole?
I think it was pretty.
Think it was pretty?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the pork chop.
Mm-hmm.
I am definitely a pork chop.
I have a texture issue
Right.
with the crust top,
Right.
but I love the flavor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just me having a texture.
Right, and that's a texture issue.
Right.
I understand it. And while that should be taken into account for every dish, it's interesting to try it and find out.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I do like it though. I really like the flavor. And then the vegetables were great. They're just, I'm a heavy smoker,
Right,
so I could use some salt.
right.
But other than
Some
that,
salt there.
it was
Yep.
good.
Okay. What do you think?
I agree that would have liked some more seasoning on the vegetables, and I like pork chops with more of a sear, like,
Right. So you think that?
Really?
Yeah. That's personal preference, but yeah. So sear it a little more.
yeah, to have like kind of a,
Before the encrusting.
yeah.
Right on.
But it wasn't overcooked, so
Yeah.
I appreciated that. And, yeah, the slight sweetness of the
Cheerios. Yeah.
the Cheerios was pleasant with the pork. This is actually like when I heard Cheerios, I thought about, some, not obviously this exact dish, but I thought about, that was my first go-to, was like, oh, I wonder if you could do something with pork.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right on. What do you think so far? You've had a bite?
I think it's pretty good. I agree with the more seasoning on the vegetables. I like the addition of the cheese with the Cheerio crust too.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, pretty solid.
Mm-hmm. That was something I was a little surprised by. And quite.
Salty with the sweet though.
pretty good.
Okay. Alright guys, I'm gonna go get the next entree. You guys wanna push your plates out to the front here? I'll let you guys finish your notes. Any comments, write them down. If you guys need more time, let me know.
Gordon Ramsay in one more bite though.
Go around You don't want to bite it? Alright. You guys go ahead and finish up whatever you're going to finish up, although, like I said, there's plenty more to come. So, alright. I'm going to go get the next dish for the judges. Okay.
I do like
So I was gonna make a comment though on the more seared thing. If you're gonna do that with a pork chop, I recommend a double cut pork chop, because when you get that sear on there, it's not gonna cook it all the way through. So when you do encrust it, whether you're pan searing it or frying it, that way it keeps that moisture.
And I'm used to bone-in pork chops too, so
Dude, me too. I'm a bone-in pork chop kind of guy. So.
Yeah, like sear it and finish it in the oven.
With a nice fatty edge right on the side. Yeah.
It is on my to-do list to sous vide a pork chop.
Okay.
Sous vide's just great. My number 2 favorite way of doing bacon. You sous vide it and then you sear it super high heat right at the very end.
Wow, bacon never occurred to me.
Okay.
Because no matter what,
I'll
you
start
gotta
on
cook it
this
all the way.
side. I really like it. So this is a red curry Thai peanut. This is a red curry peanut tofu with pad Thai noodles. And the chef recommends you pour the sauce directly over the dish before you eat it. So you got fork and knife still. Again, water bottles if you need to clear your palates. I'm sorry, either you two need a water bottle. Do you want a water bottle?
Yes, sure.
Yes, okay, come on. Okay. No worries.
His name is Kyle.
No worries at all.
Say Kyle.
So, water bottle for you. Water bottle for you. Water bottle for me. I'm gonna do a lot of talking.
Would you like some of these? No.
Okay.
I know you had some muffins.
I'm gonna go get the next plate. So if you guys want to push your plates out, I mean, if you guys want to finish more later, then you're free to do that. But I'm gonna go get the next plates.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys don't have to worry too much about it.
Is that so?
Here we are.
Are we allowed to know who's the chefs are?
Not until after it's all done. At the end, you'll
Okay.
know.
I read the guest list, but
Right. Yep. At the end, you'll know. Like, I'll bring the chefs out and they'll talk to everybody. So again, the chef recommends pouring the sauce over the entire dish, and then eating it that way.
Out of curiosity, were the noodles handmade?
I have no information about the noodles being handmade. I'll be interested in your opinion. We'll start Cole. What do you think? Tell me your thoughts on this dish.
Well, first thing, one thing I love about tofu, dude, it just absorbs flavor. Like, you can do whatever you want. But a lot of times with thicker cut tofu like this,
It's okay.
sometimes I'll like cook enough to like let it seep in. But this definitely, it's tender. It's not like overly chewy. It definitely holds. Personally, a little bit more heat in the sauce than I am accustomed to, but I am still smashing it and enjoying it.
Right.
The crunch with the noodles, obviously, you know, texture's a thing. Like,
Right.
noodles are done well, but yeah, that little bit in there, it's a good touch.
Excellent. How do you feel about the Honey Nut Cheerio addition to it? Like, if you compare it to without it?
I like it on the tofu because with that little bit of heat, that jump. I'm a honey sriracha kind of guy. Like
Right.
that sweet heat.
Right.
Like it gets me.
The sweet heat works for you. Right on. Excellent.
So I enjoy it a lot.
Excellent. Well, Tom, we'll go over to you. What do you think? And you're using bread for this one, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Excellent. Making sure I saw you with the black pen. Didn't want to make it.
I love the dish, love to eat it, love to look at it. It's gorgeous. I love the texture of the crust on the tofu. I don't know if I could taste the Cheerios or not.
Okay.
The sauce is really intense, delicious.
Right.
But it's a really strong note, so maybe it's adding to it.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay. And how do you feel about the vegetables in it? Did you get to?
Yep, I've started in on the vegetables. The texture, the taste, the appearance. It's beautiful. Love it.
Do you think that? Well, you said you weren't sure about the Honey Nut Cheerios. Do you think it complements the tofu? Or like, how the tofu is made, do you think the crunch of the vegetables, we'll say for example, works well with the tofu?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely, yes.
Okay, excellent. Umbra, what are your thoughts on it?
I think the heat was a little too intense for me. I am not able to taste the fact that the breading is Honey Nut Cheerios.
Right.
Like if I didn't know, I wouldn't be able to tell that it was Honey Nut Cheerios. I would think it was just regular breading.
Okay. So the sauce may have overpowered the flavor of the Cheerios. Okay.
And really the flavor of any of the vegetables too. Like mostly all I taste is the sauce.
The sauce. Right on.
That said, the textures are all amazing. The tofu was fried perfectly. Love that crunch. The vegetables, I love that they are they're more raw and they're crunchy as well. That adds to the texture. I like the noodles that they were served over. Cooked perfectly, not overdone. They haven't absorbed too much water or anything like that. And the visual appeal was absolutely phenomenal with the bright colors and the way it was presented. So, yeah. Overall, I think it's a great dish. I just think that there was too much heat for me to actually taste a lot of the other ingredients.
Okay, that makes sense. That seems to be what's going on. Okay, I'm gonna go have them plate up the first dessert. You guys spend a couple minutes writing down your thoughts. I'm gonna have them plate dessert. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna talk to you guys. I'll be right back.
I will ask. If you try the
whoever's
tofu
doing dessert
without the sauce.
In this dish, I put
Give that a shot, but I did follow the instructions and I put the sauce on everything.
Oh yeah, I did too. But I left a little bit just because I need.
That was smart.
So I'll start with Katie. Now she's taking a giant bite. Because
Okay.
You get a little bit more.
what are your thoughts on the dish?
That was a little better, yeah.
Let's talk about it.
I really like it. I like the texture.
But you all
I really like
the
the
heat
flavor,
and the
but I really like heat
Right.
a lot, and the sweet heat is really good.
Mm-hmm.
I happened to try some of the tofu before I put the sauce on,
Mm-hmm.
and so that itself, I did know it tasted like there were Honey Nut Cheerios in it, and because I did that,
Right.
I think it complements the sauce really well.
Okay.
I really like it.
Great. So you think that
That was good enough.
perhaps the direction is to have the tofu first, take a bite of tofu, and then with the sauce
And
afterwards.
then no, yeah.
Right. Okay.
a bit spicy, but the flavor of the
What are your thoughts on the
I want to
dish?
hear curry.
I can agree with what said the sauce is hot, but again, I also really like red curry and I like a lot of heat.
Right.
But I understand when I was really thinking about it, if the sauce is on the tofu, then I couldn't taste the Honey Nut Cheerios, but
Right.
overall, I really like
Yeah.
it.
So the sauce may mask the
I
flavor a
like the
bit much.
flavors,
Seems to
yeah.
be the general consensus.
I'm trying to
Although
think of, something that I can say that was new, but
that's different. Yeah. No,
yeah.
I totally get it. And as it gets to around, it starts being a little more challenging to figure out exactly the right things to say. So Amanda, what do you think?
This dish actually put a giant smile on my face.
Excellent.
And I don't like tofu at all.
Right.
And
Well,
this was amazing. It was so good. I really liked the flavor because I only used a little bit of sauce instead of dumping the whole thing on there.
okay.
So it wasn't so masking. And I really like the heat. But I did catch all the flavor notes in there. It was beautiful. I love it.
Excellent. And how do you think the vegetables work with the ingredient?
Perfect.
You think they blended really well with it?
Yeah. I'm a big vegetable fan,
Excellent.
so I put vegetables in a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I love noodles,
Yeah.
so this just all of it together was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. So it hit all the stuff that you really liked
It
all in
did.
one.
And it just went together.
Great. Yeah. And now you've had tofu that you like.
Right.
Thanks.
Like I might actually hit babe.
Excellent. Well, as the judges finish up what they're doing, I'm gonna go grab the desserts. And again, you guys will have time to, after all the judging's done, to eat whatever is left over. So while you guys finish up, I'll be right back.
With the desserts, if we could make sure that we get new silverware, I don't think the curry's gonna taste good with
I think it
dessert.
would be delicious. Okay. That's fantastic because I've already given them instructions
Okay,
to get
cool.
if they needed silver for specific silver for it. Good.
I'm already planning to
Alright.
put the remainder on the.
So,
But I'm happy about it.
yep.
I don't even like curry.
Dude, I'm not really not a big
This
curry
is
fan
all-
either, but that was well with the peanut sauce on there, like peanut sauce sells, man.
Yeah.
If I didn't know better, I would have thought these might have been chicken nuggets.
I honestly would
Or
think
like
the same.
chicken
Like if I would taste that without knowing it was tofu, I would have
Alright.
definitely been like,
That's
alright.
tested on
Yeah.
We
different-
make chicken salad
Just
all
in
the
time.
time.
Except
Oh,
that
right.
sauce would not.
This
What
is
else they call it?
a honey apple cake.
You just told me at honey and
I
apples.
consider
Right. I know how much Umbra likes apples.
Guy's like, I want some.
Yeah, guy with food now. Okay.
He's like, where's my specialty?
So while you guys take your first few bites, I'm gonna go grab some for the guests, and we can talk. All right. Uh oh. You need. Oh, if you need something, I can. I trust your judgment. Anyway. All right. And of course, I didn't bring new silverware for you guys, because you guys can suffer.
I'll pick it up.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Pick it up and eat it.
They did say that you could eat it with your hands or with
Okay.
silverware.
Okay.
So
Do you have some napkin or paper towels?
I'll grab napkins.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, this is like this smells like home.
Restaurant napkin for you and paper towels. If anybody else needs a paper towel, let me know.
Thank you.
Of course. All right, let's talk. So I started with you last time. I'll go to Umbra. What are your thoughts?
I think visually it's very bland. It's just a muffin. There's nothing special about the colors. There's nothing that really makes it pop out. However, after I took a bite into it, the glaze on the top, phenomenal. It's cooked all the way through. The apples, there are apple chunks in it, and those are were a nice surprise to bite into, because I was expecting just like the essence of apple to be in there and not actually have apple bits in it. I can actually kind of taste the Honey Nut Cheerio in there, and it's definitely not something I would have expected was to use that as part of the batter for the muffins. So points for creativity on that.
Right. So you think that what it lacked in visual appeal, it made up in taste appeal?
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah. Let's try to nutshell.
And textures, and yeah.
Right. All right, Tom. What do you think? You're 3/4 of the way through yours.
Yeah. I love it. I agree on all points. It's not much to look at, but I love the taste. I like the textures. I don't know if I can tell there's Honey Nut Cheerios in it. I don't taste anything that's distinctly them, and there's no texture,
Right.
Straight from it.
Okay.
Maybe putting that into a crumble would give us both something to look at, more texture, and make it more obvious that it's there.
Right.
But I love the apple chunks. I love the
Crumble would
glaze.
be a good
It comes together really well.
Excellent. All right, Cole, your thoughts?
Man, didn't even think about a crumble. Touché for that. I was thinking oven bake some Honey Nut Cheerios for a second and throw them in there and get that extra crunch. But I can't, like you said, you can almost, you know the Honey Nut Cheerios there because you get that little offset of honey and just that tiny bit of nuttiness in there. But overall, well done. Like glaze, like I agree, glaze is on point.
Right.
It reminds me of my favorite little snack cakes, like little donuts with that perfect glaze right on top. Like, dude, and I'm normally not a huge apple guy, but like, again, boom. Selling me on that.
Right. You think that
Or
the-
a sweets guy, so that
Right.
also, the fact that I've eaten over half of this and I'm still going at it is a thing as well.
Right. So how do you think the Honey Nut Cheerios and the apple, do you think they complement each other really well?
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Because I know they have like
They got the apple cinnamon.
and
Honey Nut
cinnamon Cheerios, yeah.
And
Right.
that's exactly what popped in my mind. I was like, yeah, nostalgia.
Excellent. All right. Now what do you think?
Crunch. That's
Oh
all
man,
it's missing.
it smells so good. It smells like home.
Smell like home?
I like to bake a lot, and I'm a huge fan of scents.
Right.
So this, it just smells like home. And the texture of the apple, like I said, I like to bake. It was a great texture, not too mushy, not too hard, and that's kind of difficult to do depending on what apple you choose. But man, it was so good.
Right. Excellent. What do you think?
I every time I took a bite was trying to like see if I could taste the Honey Nut Cheerio,
Mhm.
but did not. But also like the glaze and the apples
Right.
inside.
Mm.
Yeah, just every time I'm just still trying to like
Right.
see if I can
Right.
taste it, but maybe it's just
So maybe,
palate differences.
yeah. So maybe the honey nut Cheerios, it was too subtle. I mean, it doesn't make it not delicious because
Yeah, it's
I'm
still
sure it's
really-
delicious.
yeah.
I go home and eat, guys.
Right. What do you think?
I tasted the Honey Nut Cheerios, but I didn't get any apple until like my third bite, and that's when it changed for me, which was actually kind of fun, having that kind of difference depending on whether or not the apple was there.
Mhm.
I overall liked it and thought it was fun.
Great.
Not what you would expect looking at it, but
Great.
overall very fun, and I liked that evolution. there.
Great. Yeah, good flavor shift.
Yeah,
Those are really interesting meals.
it complements it well.
Mhm.
So
All right then. Then I'm gonna go get the last dessert. While you guys finish any comments or any scoring you do. Push things away and then
yeah,
that's done. Yeah, that's fine.
There's the chase.
Well, so what's gonna happen is at the end I'm gonna ask you guys to point to which one you like most of them.
Oh,
so.
I see. Okay, I don't get that
Dude,
far
I
away
like
from
your
it.
idea. I'm like,
Okay.
within pointing
Oh, this is still, man, I'm super really good.
Yup.
That's amazing.
yep. You got any of your peanut sauce left?
Yeah, get off
Dip,
it.
dip your cake in the peanut sauce.
Here,
Dip your cake in the peanut sauce.
That's
here, I
not
cut off a
very
piece that I
nice.
didn't eat if you want to try it with the peanut sauce. It's phenomenal.
It's actually like on point.
A marriage of two.
Again, the sweet and spicy.
Huh.
Oh, we
Okay,
were
now
definitely
it's-
dipping.
Alright,
We're
that's
cheating.
actually
Oh, that's
pretty good.
great.
Just mix all four plates together.
Did you start dipping in the Thai sauce?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's really interesting.
it's actually.
That's something you guys should consider is how the dishes work with each other. Like,
Dude, I bet that pork chop is baller.
That's why I said like some of that Thai sauce on the pork chop, but that was the chaser.
Bro, come
okay. So this is a coconut milk honey nut panna cotta. Not terracotta. It's not the panna cotta.
Dude, I'm actually a sucker for
Okay, sorry, I missed that. What was this?
This is, I'm going to read it again just to make sure I read it exactly right. Coconut milk honey nut panna cotta. So, there are no special instructions given to how to eat it, so.
I'm a huge fan of flan, so.
Huge fan of flan? A huge fan of flan? I see. I do love a good
to
flan.
see flan.
Alright, so I'll let you guys.
Oh gods, I haven't thought about that episode of Courage in forever.
So you guys take our first few bites, get some kind of
Try the pork chop with the sauce.
an idea, and I'm gonna go get
Yes.
one for the guests.
Alright.
Okay. You wanna- here's the- You guys.
But you can see the rings of the Cheerios in the top layer.
Through the top too, I love it.
Alright.
The use of coconut milk is a good choice,
Alright. So I started with this right here. Yeah, of course. And there's that. To be clear, I'm gonna move a single Kelly plate to the middle, and I'm gonna have you guys choose which one you like. So you guys can clear room for whatever else you need here. Okay. And so this it's the last dessert. So go ahead and dig in, see what you guys think. All right. So I started with umbrella last time. So Cole, your thoughts on this?
Like I was saying, it is actually interesting with the coconut milk.
Yeah.
It is an extremely fatty milk, but it is a hard thing to bind. I
Yeah.
don't know if you can see, but mine's a little runny on the inside.
A little runny on the inside. Okay.
Which happens. I mean, when you're trying
Yeah.
to set something, especially if it doesn't have that fat content, like it's a little harder to do. It still tastes great.
Right.
Almost more like a top like I feel like it's baked halfway through,
Mm-hmm.
or not even baked because you don't bake things.
No.
But it formed halfway through and then just left a gooey inside, which I also kind of like.
Mm-hmm.
But it just throws me off for the actual dish itself.
Right. Right. When you come in expecting something and then you get something.
I do like the visual.
The visual appeal of
Rings.
the yeah. Because now you
Because
know
you see the
that-
Cheerios like through the top layer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I am curious to find out what the top layer is, but
Mhm.
I enjoy it.
Well, at the end, after everything's all said and done, I take your scorecards. I'll bring the both of the contestants out, and you guys can talk to them. How do you think the Honey Nut Cheerios works taste-wise?
It's a little different,
Mm-hmm.
but not bad.
Yeah.
Not something I would ever do or expect, but that's the whole point of this. So
It really is.
I'm always about trying something new.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You can definitely. I'm a sucker for honey, dude.
Yeah.
And you can definitely taste.
You taste
full,
them.
full honey. And
Right
you're
on.
with it.
Right on. All right, Tom. What do you think?
Very unfamiliar dish and combination of flavors for me when I first got into it. As I kept scooping, I liked it more and more. The flavors come together great. The only thing about it I don't think worked is that the Cheerios got a little gummy in the process.
Okay.
If they would have been crispy or completely textureless, would have both been a little bit better
Right.
than gummy. So
Right.
they're kind of forced in there, I guess.
I see. So do you think that the texture of the Cheerios didn't work well with the rest of the dish?
I think it's inevitable if you're going to bury a Cheerio in
Right.
a firm liquid, it's going to get.
Yeah, it's going to turn into that mushy.
Maybe if you baked them ahead of time to harden them, it might have offset it a little bit.
Right.
But
What do you think about them otherwise? What do you think about the dish as a whole?
so I think it's phenomenal. I think it actually pairs really well with the dinner that it was made for. I do see that, there is some binding issues further down from the top because I got down there and I basically dug a well and it filled up with liquid.
Right.
The Cheerios are a little soggy. I'm not 100% of my idea would have fixed that,
Right.
but just as
Right.
an afterthought, I do like the glaze on the top, where you can see the Cheerios through it. That definitely adds to the visual appeal, seeing the Cheerios too. And I can actually, taste them because they were left in there as whole.
Right.
So overall, I think it was a great concept. I think it could have been executed maybe just a little bit better.
That's adventurous.
But listening to Umbra talk, I thought about the pairing, and I mean, the
Yeah.
cool
I just-
creaminess to follow the spices.
I just had to literally try a bite of
Yeah.
that and taste this because you are not wrong, sir. Especially with the coconut and the curry.
Yep. Yeah, I can see that these two dishes, like the people thought about the pairing of the home style of the pork chops with the home style of the cake, the apple cake, and then the Thai curry and then the coconut milk. It seemed to complement each other really well. All right. Okay, we'll start with Amanda. What do you think about the dish, the dessert?
I like the flavor
Right.
combo.
Mm-hmm.
Like they said though, maybe baking or candy and the Cheerios put a crunch in there.
Great. Maybe candy. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah.
But other than that, it was pretty good. And I like how they used the gelatin on top to make it see through.
Yeah.
That was pretty.
It's a pretty neat concept. Gives it a visual appeal.
Right.
What do you think? Tell me about this. What do you think about the plan? You got through more than so far anybody else so far.
I did. I'm just a very quick eater.
That's totally fair.
All of my stuff just.
Totally
Yeah.
fair.
So trying to think of something that hasn't already been said, it was unfortunate the liquidy
Yeah, some of it didn't
center,
set.
but
Yeah.
flavor wise, like just a very tasty dessert in terms of the coconut and the honey and the nuttiness is definitely all in there. Yeah. Which is what you want after the heat of the sauce.
Yeah.
So.
Right. And instead of talking about the complementary nature of the dishes with each other. What do you think, Katie?
I thought it was basically a bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios.
You felt like it's a bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios, right on.
The gumminess to me reminded me of like the last few Cheerios at the end of the bowl that have soaked up all the milk the entire time. So it was just like the texture was clearly not quite there, like it's not fully runny and whatnot, but
Right.
overall like taste and the gumminess of those, they just reminded me of like I'm actually eating a bowl of cereal
Right.
here. Which overall was kind of another fun thing, and I thought it goes with the pork chops in there very well, and I thought the flavor was definitely there. There's no question it was Honey Nut Cheerio at all. So
Great. Excellent. Now I was worried about this dish because you've been a little spoiled by Creme Brulee, and this has a similar feel to it. And so I was worried about how you would feel about that.
I actually don't like flan that much because flan's rubbery texture bothers me to some degree.
Right, a texture.
But
Texture thing, right?
I try not to make texture a thing with this. I think if we wanted to avoid the gumminess entirely, if it wasn't intentional, then maybe actually doing a crumble might have been a good idea on top too.
A topping, right, as well.
This is a fun idea, but if a lot of people seem bothered by the gumminess, to me it just reminded me of a more authentic bowl of cereal thing.
Right.
If you wanted to avoid that, that would be an option.
Right.
I think.
Excellent. Okay, well then I'm going to start clearing a couple plates. So I'm gonna use these 2 plates for the desserts, and then do we have so, and then I guess that's fine. Okay, you're done? Okay, I'll take.
I know we're not hungry.
I'm gonna take anything that we're done with. So and I'll need a red plate at some point, but I'll figure that out.
You know that one too.
Okay, this one too. Okay, not good. Okay. Anything I can get out of the way here?
Yep.
It's more just general housekeeping. Take all this here? Yep.
Boom.
Yep.
I might as well work on this for a minute.
Yep, by all means.
Right, I don't think I'm not gonna eat what's here.
You might-
Definitely gonna do that. This is limited.
Yes, it's probably the Thai sauce.
Okay. All this ready to go? Okay.
That's definitely why I went back and finished those noodles really quick.
Okay. I'm gonna let you guys finish up your final comments on these. Any other comments you want to write to the chefs or to the cooks, the competitors? I'm gonna take this out there. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna get the final opinions of the guests.
Alrighty.
I got it. Appreciate it though.
Mommy, you don't have to. I think I worked with your mommy for that idea.
Okay, guys. So the last thing I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna get the final opinions from everybody, and then after I do that, I'm going to come back.
I didn't have any good ideas all week about what I would do with my best idea would be putting it in the crust on fried chicken, but that wouldn't track any better.
You do now know that I prefer custard to flan. I'll have texture alone.
But custard is superior because it's velvety.
Flan is
What's the difference between flan and panna cotta? 'Cause this was panna cotta.
So panna cotta's
they
got
just
that
like
more
different?
so that velvety texture you got that's more like custard.
Yeah.
That's actually what's said.
Yeah.
Instead of like being more like a jello mold-ish style texture. So this is more a little bit more creamy.
Yes. That's what
Yeah, this is somewhere between Jello and custard.
Great. Alright, any final thoughts from you guys? I'm curious about what you guys thought of the presentation, like literally anything about it that we haven't already just talked about.
I mean, for not being professional chefs or anything, presentation looked good. Color
Yeah.
was there. Like it wasn't offset in any way.
Mm-hmm.
If I wasn't trying to broaden the score sheet,
Right.
I wouldn't have brought up any of my criticisms
Right, yeah.
anywhere else.
Right.
It's all great.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought it was fantastic. The presentation was very nice. It was appealing. I definitely wanted to eat the plates as soon as I saw them.
Great.
They smelled great. I think that, yeah, other than the criticisms that I already gave regarding certain textures and travel and stuff like that. And since for both chefs, I'm assuming that this is their first time really making either of these dishes because, you know, most people don't make this stuff with Honey Nut Cheerios. It was definitely creative, and I think they did a great job.
Excellent. All right.
I definitely might now.
Do you guys have any final thoughts before I start your guys' judging?
Congratulations, you guys just added something new to my cupboard.
Yep.
Vegetables with the
Like over cornflakes a lot, like when I'm doing chicken
Yeah?
fries.
You're a big fan of vegetables in it? Yep.
Like that, like why not crush up my Cheerios?
The vegetables were perfect. They weren't undercooked.
You want to
or
steal the peanut
overcooked,
sauce?
and-
Peanut sauce is a
What
big
I
hit.
found
Yeah,
is a
one.
really good
Nice and
crust.
hot to eat. Any other final thoughts before we move on?
Croutons, like just the regular
Yeah.
seasoned
It was
croutons,
nice to
and
end
using those for
with
bread and crust.
the panna cotta.
I think the
Remove
difference between
Yeah,
the vegetables
take up
between
some
the
of the heat,
curry
yeah.
and the pork chop is the pork chop.
was helpful.
Cooking the
Now I'm
vegetables
ready
was
for-
better for them, but
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
curry, I was really happy that they didn't cook any of the vegetables.
The crunch of like a
The crunch on the
So what
raw
we're gonna do
veggies was
here-
perfect.
This is going to
You
be
know what cabbage is in
silent
Spanish?
voting.
It's cold.
And so I'm going to have you guys point to So
That makes sense.
Definitely
Coleslaw.
to
Yep.
the
That makes
specific
sense.
plate
Definitely
that you're
two
gonna
different
like.
styles
And so
Have it
we,
like
we're gonna start with the entree.
One a little bit more creative.
So on here you
or
have
at least
the
more.
One was more trying
fried
to
tofu.
pull up some sort of a
And
restaurant quality,
on
and the
here
other
you
one
have
was like,
the
this is
pork chop with roasted
this is our
vegetables.
Thanksgiving
Go ahead and
dinner
point to
type.
the color
Like, this,
that
I'm
you like
serving
the
this to
most.
family, and it's going to be amazing, and everyone's going to have 5
Okay.
plates.
Soul food is great for
And as for dessert,
Yep.
we had
squeaky squeaky.
on the red plate we had the terracotta.
Honestly, I
that-
normally don't
and then we
pick hotter
on the black
curries
plate we had
personally.
the
I usually go
apple
for mild
honey
ones,
cake.
but
So for dessert, go ahead and point to
it
the
was a
plate,
good
color plate that
peanut
you like the
sauce,
most.
for sure.
Okay, that's all I need.
I do love
Okay.
peanut sauce, and like I said, spicy is normally not my thing.
Then we
I
will-
push those limits, but I still ate the whole dish.
So you guys, if you guys are you done with yours?
Buffalo is generally like my level. Like,
I'm gonna do
this is
the
too much.
last minute
Gotta
of
put some
the
ranch
pea
on
here.
it.
And
I'll eat sriracha all day though.
Yeah, sriracha's pretty about the right.
Are you done with
temperature.
everything?
Yeah, I cannot do
I am,
buffalo.
thank
Okay.
you.
Can't do it.
I love that.
Even with ranch, buffalo's usually too hot for me.
Buffalo's
Which
delicious.
happens.
I'm thoroughly
I
enjoying
love the way my
myself.
lips
right
teeth.
No, you. Are you done with this plate, or do you want me to? Or do you want me to? You're free to eat as much
Spicy
as
is
you
not a
like.
flavor profile. If you like spicy things, you are enjoying
You're done with this plate
pain.
now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I also love pineapple, and it's
Okay
trying
with
to
that.
eat me back.
Yeah,
So what's
it's
your point?
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a thing for
Oh no, it was just I saw a TikTok earlier today that went over that that whole explanation.
Alright.
Like, no, you actually can't taste the spicy.
Okay,
You
so
can't
I'm gonna
taste them
go
correctly.
get the judges, or get
Indian
the
food is massive
competitors.
like that.
I meant to do that. Okay, you guys want to head out? Thank you. Head out
Oh,
here.
I did manage to get more
Okay.
sauce that I grabbed. Okay.
So as we round up, let's give a round of applause to the competitors today. Nicely done, guys. So I will take these now from you, so you guys can't cheat.
How am I supposed to read my own comments back?
Just memorize them.
Oh, you took a second. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. However,
I wrote too big on the first one.
that happens. That's the best of us. We get the back.
You just take their
Right.
time.
Anyway, it's okay. All right. So I'm gonna step away and do the judging. So tally all the scores and whatnot. And Justin here had the red plate with the Thai peanut or Thai honey nut Cheerio curry peanut of deliciousness. And Samantha here, Samantha, do you have a preference? Sam. Sam had the home style pork chops with roasted potatoes and the cake. So I'll let you guys talk to the judges about what is going on. The judges can give you any extra feedback that you can hear. And I'm going to go tally the scores. Awesome.
You can go first.
What questions can I answer for you?
What was your inspiration?
Trying to figure out what to do with Honey Nut Cheerios as I spent days racking my brain until I was like, oh, maybe I can do a panna cotta for dessert. Panna cotta is Italian. What kind of Italian entree can I do? And I just went through the list. It's like nothing, literally nothing. Can I do Italian with Honey Nut Cheerios? And then I was like, what about Thai? Because I just kept going through proteins in my head, like chicken, pork, beef, fish. What can I pair with this that's going to travel 45 minutes? And I just couldn't think of something. I was like, what about tofu? They use tofu in a lot of Thai stuff, and they pair that with like peanut and honey and all that stuff. And it's like, it's kind of coming together. And so I kind of came up with the Thai. Originally a stir fry, but it's like, well, it's going to be ice cold by the time I get it there and reheated. And it's like, well, maybe I can just assemble it there. And then it's like, well, my dessert was Italian. What can I do to make it Thai? Oh, I'll sub out, milk for coconut milk. And I finished it with a honey lime gelatin, which was that thin layer on the top.
Which was a nice note.
It was.
I think it needed just a little bit of acid to kind of keep it from being just creamy sweet throughout. But I was not happy with the texture of the Honey Nut Cheerios. And originally I tried to have a thin layer of the panna cotta on the bottom that just had the Cheerios in it. And that would have ideally preserved the texture of them. But then when I put the hot panna cotta mixture over the top, everything just floated right to the top. And I said, well, now they're going to be soggy. So,
They were soggy, but they were pretty.
Yeah,
fair.
I agree.
That was kind of my train of thought over the course of the week as I was just racking my brain of like, what can I do with Honey Nut Cheerios? And how can I make a good entree with this that's not just sweet on sweet? So.
Same question to you, Sam.
My inspiration was pretty much the same. What goes with Honey Nut Cheerios? I'm like, all right, well, let's break down the base flavor of Honey Nut Cheerios. It's honey and oat. Breading, let's see what goes well with honey, maple glaze, pork chops. Oh, I could do breading on pork chops. And that's what I did. And then I was just basically smelling all the spices I had and smelling Honey Nut Cheerios. Like, these could go together, and testing other things. I have a little bit of allspice, lemon, thyme, and then sour cream to make it stick to the pork chop. To just, make a nice breading. And then the cake was really easy because I'm more of a baker than anything. And I just wanted something that tasted really warm and cozy. And that's kind of what I went with that.
Is this yours?
For sure, it was definitely it definitely had that warm, homey
no,
feel
it's
to
fine.
it. Definitely comfort food, soul food kind of thing. The breading I think would have been, the travel thing. It would have been crunchier had it come straight from the stove.
Honestly,
It may lick it off.
No?
it cooked that way. The thing is I tried to do a layer of sour cream and then I processed the Honey Nut Cheerios in a food processor to get it to the breading. And I stuck it to the sour cream and tried frying it. That burned. I tried baking it. And it baked and it was crunchy, but because of the way they are, for some reason, the Cheerios didn't stick. So you ate pork chop and got Cheerio dust in your face. So I had to mix it with the sour cream to get it to stick to the pork chop. And so it was soft because of that.
Maybe broiling it after the fact, that hot, intense heat on the top might have crisped it up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a bit like stuffing on top of pork.
Yeah, a little bit.
I
mean, it was good.
It tasted good.
Tasted amazing.
But yeah, it was a bit soft.
Another recommendation. So you obviously put that cheese on top, to add that little bit of salty flavor in there, which is awesome. When you're doing your breading and you're gonna bake it or broil it, mix that cheese in there with either your butter or your sour cream, whatever you're gonna use as your base binding with the crumbs, because if you use butter, it's gonna add a little bit of extra oil in there to help crisp that up, which is always a nice texture. When you're making like a Parmesan crisp, it's just butter and Parmesan, it's great. But that cheese in there is really a solid binder, and it would help hold all of that solid on your pork chop.
Yeah. Good idea.
But it tasted amazing. I ate the whole thing, so.
I got big ones by accident, so.
I don't complain about big pork chops.
Oh no.
I think we all really enjoyed dipping your cake in your sauce.
Yep.
Yeah. Seriously, if you've got a muffin left, dip it in the peanut sauce.
We got a couple. We'll have to try
I'm
that.
up for trying it.
We were trading food back there, like,
Yeah.
oh, this is so good, and this one's good.
Yeah, the apple muffins went amazing with the peanut sauce, just as a dip. Speaking of dipping, I probably would have rather had kept it as a side than putting it over the top.
Yeah.
Just because the heat was overpowering for me, so I'd be like, yeah, I'll just dip stuff in as I see fit.
Yeah, that was kind of a tightrope act to balance, because I added the red curry paste, and it's like, this has no heat. I want a slight heat.
So then you threw in 5 ghost peppers.
Capsicum, actually. I put in about 4 drops of pure capsicum. That was where the heat came from. Because for a bowl this large, I put 4 drops of pure capsicum in. It's like, I should have done 3.
I loved it.
It was great.
So good.
Yeah.
It's just, it made it hard for me to taste the Cheerios.
Yeah.
I think maybe even just tossing the noodles and veggie in some of that
In
sauce,
some
just
of
to
the
get a nice
sauce.
thin coating with that crispy on top, so they get to cut into that.
That
That's
was my
always
biggest
being
debate,
really
is do I want to hide the colors under the sauce?
which is a fair step.
I still don't know if I have the right answer for it or not. It's like, but it's so bright, and then I'll just put the sauce on top. It's
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
If I were to
garnish
serve that at a restaurant or something, I would still serve the sauce on the side so that the colors did shine through at the beginning of the meal.
Mhm.
And then if they wanted to dump it over, they can. Otherwise, they could just dip it.
Yeah. The other things that I noticed, I originally wanted to do a toasted coconut with that as well. It's I've got the honey roasted peanuts. Those should be a crunch on their own. And coconut's a divisive ingredient. And it's like I'm already using coconut in the dessert. This was actually the second batch of the dessert. The first batch I used coconut flakes and crushed peanuts, and it made it a textural nightmare. It was not good. And the panna cotta, I kind of sabotaged myself in the 11th hour. I heard the runniness, and I'm like, because I set it in a hot water bath, because originally I wanted to have it release and serve it on a plate as a panna cotta should. But it only went up halfway, and they were not releasing, and the attempts to release it were just breaking the cups. I'm like, I can't serve this with plastic in it. So they have to go out as is, and sitting in that hot water bath, yeah, they started getting
A little runny.
Yeah, a little runny, and I'm like, oh no.
I did notice though, as this set, that it did firm back up when I was sitting here eating it. So I didn't know. Like now, you say you had it in a hot water bath. That makes a lot of sense as to why that, because then it firmed right back up. Now that I'm touching it, which it's all good.
So ideally, if you were to make this on a regular basis, maybe get glass ones and make sure that you have a dish deep enough to fill up all the way for the hot water bath, so it's not halfway up.
Yeah, that was my undoing on that textural part. And it right at the 11th hour, because they're perfectly set. What have they got them here? And that's like, oh no, the hot water bath. It would have been fine if I'd gotten them out, because all that runniness would have gone off on the sides. But not when I can't get them out.
Honestly, maybe it'd been a nice touch, like a lava cake that you just bloop,
Yeah.
But it also sounded like you guys liked seeing the Cheerios at the top. And
Yeah, it was very visually appealing.
originally, I wanted them to just stay on the bottom. That way, when I inverted them, they would be on.
Well, it ended up doing what you wanted accidentally. The Cheerios were at the top.
Just not by original design, but
Yeah.
they got there.
And perfect apple choice, by the way.
Yes.
Those were a pleasant surprise, little treasures.
Yeah.
What
Just
kind of
right
apple did you
texture
use, by
flavor.
the way?
Honeycrisp, the only apple I ever use.
I mean,
Solid
there's nothing
choice.
wrong with a Honeycrisp.
I find it perfect.
I did do y'all know how you got that glaze on point on top? It just caked, it was solid, and it wasn't oily or gonna fall off on my
A
fingers. It
cinnamon
set
roll
in.
glaze made from scratch, so it solidifies as it sits. You gotta heat it up and pour it while it's still hot, or else it gets stiff.
That was absolutely amazing. The flavor was great. The only thing that we kind of agreed on was that maybe for a little visual appeal, a crumble would have been a nice touch for the top of it.
Yep, it was, I didn't know, I couldn't think of anything to make it pretty. It was just beige, but it tastes good, so.
Hey.
But the crumble is actually a good idea. I didn't even think about putting a crumble on there. It was like,
Ooh, a
how
cinnamon
can I
crumble.
make this look better? I'm gonna add
coffee
some
cake
cinnamon
crumble.
sugar.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Yeah, you brought up the crumble thing, and I was like, man, I didn't even think about that.
Right?
I was thinking about just baking some Cheerios and putting them on the inside so you get that extra crunch. I was like,
It was still kind of in my head from last time. I had the idea, well, maybe if I take chunks of pumpkin and put a crumble over it like you would bake with apples.
Right.
Didn't try it. Just an idea.
I bet it would have been good though. Season the pumpkin. Another great thing for baked desserts. Glazes. When I say glaze, I meant make a little sauce. Nice little drizzle of something to get that
I thought
extra
of it.
texture in there.
Like a honey apple glaze
That would be
to
good.
go on top, but then I threw apples in it, and I'm like, that'd be too much apple. Let's do a vanilla glaze.
If you would have done a sea salted caramel on top of that, I would have been in heaven.
Caramel.
I would have been in heaven.
I was kicking around the idea of doing a pineapple or lime sauce for the top of the panna cotta, but it ended up going with a honey lime gelatin instead.
It was
Still
good.
tasty.
Yeah, it was good.
It turned out.
Alright, so now that I've had a couple bites, I'm going to give my 2.5 cents on it. Because of inflation. Let's see. Pork chop was absolutely delicious. Flavorful. It was juicy. It was cooked how I like it. Some people like a sear. I'm okay with not a sear. Absolutely fine. So it was tender. The vegetables, I feel like they need a little bit of seasoning. They were a little bit bland. I like that there were vegetables. That was a neat addition. Rather than just they went well with the pork chop. Salt, pepper, even some basic seasonings. I think would have put it up a little higher just to step it up.
There's actually salt and pepper on it.
Right. It probably it
Not
felt a
enough.
little underwhelming, especially compared to the pork chop. I felt like the pork chop had a good flavor to it, and then it was just underwhelming. The noodles were very good. The tofu was probably my favorite part of it. The sauce was a little hot for the rest of the dish. I mean, it's Thai food. It's gonna be hot, so you expect that. I feel like it took a lot of the flavor away. So I did what Katie did, and I took a bite of the tofu first, and it was really good. Yeah. So out of the entrees, I liked the pork chop a lot. So I think I like the pork chop just a smidge better as an overall dish, although I would say the tofu is probably my favorite part. As for the desserts, the cake was very good. It felt like it would just be like a ball of cake. I felt like I could just do that and I would have been perfectly happy. Not that it was too much because it was just delicious. I didn't taste a lot of the Honey Nut Cheerios. Katie felt like there was an evolution to it. I didn't see it. I taste a lot of apple, and I love apple, so that's good. But not a lot with the Honey Nut Cheerios. I like the terracotta better. I'm going to call it that from now on, just because I think it's funny to me, and if no one else likes it, I don't care. I like the dessert just a smidge better. I felt like it was creative. I like the gelatin layer on top. Mine was set. I don't know. I think I heard Cole over here saying that it started setting while he was eating it, or afterwards. So, yeah, I think that whatever it set just fine for me.
Yeah.
So
He let us know to put it in a hot
Yeah,
so we
originally I
could
wanted to serve
knock
it
it out.
To serve it
inverted,
upside down,
so
So it
yeah, they
liquefied.
Right.
got a little runny
Right.
on the outside for a bit.
I see. So I did the challenge scores, and this was closer than last time. It was much closer. So I want you guys to know that a 5 across the board is a perfect score, and so like to get it exactly 100%, like you couldn't have done any better. It's 150 points.
Wow.
So yeah, 150 points total. 3 judges times 2 dishes, 25 points per dish. That's 50 per judge. Times 3 judges, 150 points.
Okay.
Perfect scores are pretty tough to get. I told these people to be kind of critical, because I think they were too generous last time. So I don't think that came to come. I looked at it and I pretty much agreed with pretty much everything they said. They're going to be back there for you guys to read when you guys are done. So the final score was 119 to 113.
Wow.
6 point difference.
Wow.
6 point difference. Super close. Compared to the last one, which was a 14 point difference. So half that difference. So you guys were a good skill match.
Nice.
So
Good competitor.
yes.
Agreed.
So
That's why I'm working
the
in the kitchen.
second place, I got a $5 gift card to have you, Sam.
Yay.
And some advice: simmer down and just roll with it. There you are.
Thank
Nice.
Of course.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Justin, for 119, you clearly love cooking. There you are. And a $20 gift card to Hy-Vee for your next dishes.
Awesome.
You guys can come visit me and have you guys.
Yes, no, so yes.
Absolutely.
So once more time, round of applause for everybody involved here.
So for real though, what brand of tofu do you use? Because a lot of
that was
tofu.
Oh
Yeah.
god, that was a hunt. I couldn't tell you because I had to go to several different places to find it. I actually put out a thing on Facebook of like, vegetarian friends, where can I find like firm tofu? Because I picked over Hy-Vee and all they had left was like soft stuff or like heavily seasoned stuff or nothing that I wanted to use. Like, okay, where do I go? They gave me a list of like 12 places. Okay. So
Go to your
not-
nearest Asian market.
yeah. There were places. There were plenty of places. It's just the default that I went to was Miss.
Right.
So
I would be super interested in your sauce. Like,
Yeah.
you could send me that recipe.
Yeah, if you guys could
I
post
loved
recipes
it.
to the
It's
page.
I loved your sauce.
Yeah.
I
Post
have
recipes
two helpings
with,
of his.
with the pictures. Yeah.
It was so
That's stuff like this.
Oh yeah. So lots of things went in it.
So you just fry the tofu, by the way?
Yes, that was an ordeal and a half because I tried a couple different things. I made a batter that had like pulverized Honey Nut Cheerios in it, and tried just that, and it was just not sticking to the tofu at all. So I was like, well, I need, crumb. And so more Honey Nut Cheerios, so batter then crumb.
They got a really good crisp on it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm curious, especially if you brought it here and it held that crisp. Like,
Yeah.
That's a thing. Like
It traveled 45 minutes in the car,
Yep.
and yeah.
So I want you guys to know that 110 plus is nothing to sneeze at. Even though 150 is a perfect score, like
That's something to shoot for.
yeah, no one's getting 150. I would like to see if you could get 150. I don't think you could. No. Judges, because you have a very diverse group of people here who like different things,
I
and
gotta
so
smoke octopus. It's happening.
yeah, that's right.
Ooh, that sounds good.
I'll try it.
Right. For the soy sauce dancing tentacles.
Do you know what? Seriously, my boss just got a bunch of.
Paired with 100-year-old aged wine.
Yeah.
Where can you find octopus around here?
I've eaten.
I be here.
Yeah, my store just
Also,
got
Yume's.
a bunch of.
I think I just need to travel up to Cedar Rapids for everything because
A whole bunch
the
of
Iowa City
octopus.
ones don't have everything.
And they're whole octopus
kinda
too.
dry.
They're not even
Given
just
there's,
tentacles.
like,
Like it's
So
whole
like
octopus.
octopus head.
Yeah.
Serve it underneath the
Okay.
bowl.
Dude, I'm gonna
Yeah.
boil it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Octopus.
season it. I'm gonna throw it on the smoker for like 2.5 hours.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can even buy at Yume's. You can even buy like pig's feet and like whole chickens,
Yep.
whole
Yeah.
frozen fish.
I didn't think it'd be a nightmare to find skin on pork belly, but
It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Nielsen's.
Nielsen's the meat
Yeah,
market. over here.
Nielsen's.
Okay.
Nielsen's.
gotcha.
Yep. Like,
Yeah,
they-
we-
I think they're like our only legitimate butcher in town.
And they're not even that expensive for pork belly. I think I was paying
No.
like $2.50 a pound.
Meals
Oh,
is
that's
really
really good.
reasonably priced.
Yep.
You can get
And
it at
alligator.
Fairway, but Fairway like.
They've also got other
prices.
weird
And
cuts
lobster
too. Like
tails.
they'll have oxtail and other stuff that Hy-Vee won't have.
Interesting.
They have all sorts of stuff, and it's all very reasonable.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it's even pre-frozen for your travels too.
Good. Good. We're making some trips up to Nielsen.
Have to. The meat market, yeah.
One thing I'd like to add, this has been so fun, so exciting.
Excellent.
I picked up a gift for the host.
What? No.
Small gift of appreciation.
No.
You might already have one of these.
Oh.
If you do, then
Oh.
you'll feel better about
Oh,
wearing
thank you.
one of them out.
Are these the blue version? Fantastic.
White line?
White Lion. Yeah, it's the Series B blue ones, which I don't have.
Ooh, nice.
Are these by Mark D?
Yes.
For our viewers, this is a
They
deck
are.
of playing cards.
Fantastic. Thank you. This is a David Blaine deck, one that he uses. Like this, he designed and uses. And this one's by Mark D, which is
Yes.
one of the ones I like.
Amazing.
Not Mark Stutzman, Mark D. Stutzman, which,
Indeed.
which has an interesting flavor to it. Which, yeah, thank you so much. And I
He's
hope that-
he's cheesing over here.
I've been looking around for spoilers,
Super fun.
and
Coming back.
they're not complete.
No, I know. I know very well. Thank you, I appreciate that.
I'll be back.
So yeah, so this is the event. That pretty much concludes it. You guys are free to hang off for a little while. I'm gonna do some cleanup. I'm gonna eat a little more.
He's like, I'm gonna smash
So-
this.
I only got a couple bites, so
Let's
Yeah.
it's
sit down
enough
and
to
settle this tummy
So-
really quick.
Yeah.
This was live streamed on Twitch and YouTube. The Twitch video will only remain up for about 2 weeks, but the YouTube video will remain forever.
Yep. Plus in the page.
Speaking of, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream now. So for those viewers that watched with us, thank you very much, and we'll see you again next time.
Bye.
I'm bringing the heat.